Welcome, students. Do not forget to always subscribe to the channel if you are new. The first thing that you need to do, click the subscribe button, and your comments are highly appreciated on the channel. Should you have any question or doubt, always feel free to contact me. But meanwhile, let's subscribe to the channel and then move on. Welcome, students, to DANSO's online lectures. And today, as you know, we promised to discuss the premating isolation mechanisms or the premating isolating mechanisms. Literally, premating isolating mechanisms are those factors that will prevent organisms from being able to mate at the first instance. So this act as a barrier or isolate or reproductive isolation barriers that prevent these organisms to be able to mate. And among these factors we are going to discuss, one of the factors is the geographical isolation or the geographical distances. You can put this in the normal way. If two organisms are living in different geographical regions, let's say one is living in the northern hemisphere and the other one is living in the southern hemisphere, and in between these two organisms we have what we call the geographical barriers, that includes mountains, the oceans, and the hills. So this prevents these organisms from being crossed from one region to the other. In other words, there is a prevention of gene flow between these two regions. This is a factor that will prevent these organisms, and if this persisted for a long time, these organisms will become a distinct different species. So the second factor that we will have to discuss here as one of the premating isolating mechanisms is the mating times differences. If organisms, even if they are living within the same geographical region, if they have different mating times, they will not be able to mate. Let's take an instance of flowers. Flowers, one of the flowers that reproduces in April and the other flower that reproduces in December, the pollens will not be able to transfer from the anther to the stigma, and there will be no there will be no flower production of this particular plant. And the same goes to the animals. So this is another factor. The third factor that we have here is the mechanical incompatibility. When we say the mechanical incompatibility, here we are talking about the sexual organs. The sexual organ of the female and that of the male are incompatible. In other words, they cannot enter each other. This is a factor. So this also happens well before they will mate. This is an attempt for them to mate. So this is a factor. I will give a good example. Let's say a dog and a fly. There's no possibility for them to mate. So this is a mechanical incompatibility among organisms of a different species in most cases. So different habitats, if they are living in different habitats, let's say the other one is living in the northern hemisphere, the other one is living in the southern hemisphere here, they will not be able to mate because of there is no gene flow that is going to be possible among these organisms. The fourth one or the fifth one is the different courtship signals. This is my favorite one when I was doing my my BSc. Here we're talking about the signals. We're talking about the courtship rituals, how a particular female calls the particular male when they're about to have the appetite to mate. For instance, let's say birds, they make sounds, ritual sounds. They whistle, they make great sounds. So if one bird that makes a different sound than the other, once a male of that particular bird make that signal, it is only the females of this bird that will answer. This is very important in the lives of organisms. Courtship signals, courtship styles. So these are very important. Some organisms will only care about the sense, the smell of their female or their male for them to be attracted. Some organisms will look at the phenotype of their female or their male for them to get attracted to them. Some organisms will look at the toughness of their male or female for them to get attracted. So they look at all these different ways of communicating during their courtship, and this is so important in the organisms. So thank you all. I hope the video is really going to help. Enjoy the video.